The coastline of Namibia stretches for 1,400 kilometers along the South Atlantic. An almost uninterrupted string of dunes rolling towards the ocean. The Benguala current, which flows north from the Antarctic and follows the Namibian coast, carries huge quantities of nutrients. Many birds and sea mammals are attracted to this water, which teems with fish. Huge colonies of brown fur seals come to breed on the Namibian shore. Each year, about 300,000 births are recorded.
Yes. We always want to come and bite on the oars because he always plays with us.
I say one is going the other side now.
This big one. And then one day he came and he bit the oar and he was so happy with himself. It's wow. But he's always for the youngsters. I don't know if he's the grandfather or what. Come.
Ingrid Berard Laporte is with a small group of tourists. She's sharing a kayak with G.E.I.E, a naturalist and guide who has an inexhaustible knowledge about the life and behavior of the fur seals.
And what is the lifespan usually for a seal?
20 to 22 years, but they only mature when they are 4 years old.
Male and female,
yes.
Same age.
And then in this colony, each male has about 15 to 20 females in its harem. And each female has only one youngster. And when the babies are born, their eyes are blue in color. It only change into brown when they are about 3 months old, just like a dog. Seals coming as well, looking at us now.
Ingrid has lived in Namibia since 1998, and she wrote the first French guide to the country. She publishes her photographs and organizes tailor-made trips all over southern Africa.
Namibia is an amazing country. Here you see marine wildlife, and in a few hours we'll be in the dunes. It's a very likeable country. The people are welcoming. It's easy to visit as it's family friendly. We have many national parks and also private reserves where the emphasis is on protection of the biotope in terms of vegetation, fauna, and the reintroduction of species. This is an environment where the government has included the conservation of nature in its constitution.
The role of the Benguala current is not only one of nutrition. Passing close to the Namibian coast, it brings to the surface a mass of cold water from the depths of the ocean. On contact with the warm tropical air, condensation causes morning fogs which penetrate to the interior of the desert. This humidity helps animals and plants to survive in these extreme climatic conditions. The Namib Desert was formed 55 million years ago. It's considered to be the oldest desert in the world. This long ribbon of desert stretches all along the west coast of southern Africa, starting in South Africa, crossing Namibia, and ending in Angola. Created in 1998 by a businesswoman who was passionate about nature on land previously used for sheep rearing, the private nature reserve Namib Rand covers an area of 172,000 hectares. It's one of the biggest private reserves in southern Africa. Stefan Bruckner, the son of the reserve's founder, welcomes visits to the Wolverdan's Dune Lodge, built in the heart of the desert, far from anywhere.
What makes this place special? I think it's pretty straightforward. It's the exclusivity, not the exclusivity of our camps. We try to, deliver a good service and make the stay here as comfortable as possible. But what really defines our product and why you should come here is number one, this extraordinarily beautiful nature. But on top of that, it's really the fact that we, right from the outset, have limited the number of tourists this area can take. And our current ratio, and that's almost like thrown in concrete, is 1 guest per 1,000 hectares. That means every guest here has got 10 million square meters for himself.
Corris is the chief warden of the Namib Rand Reserve. Every fortnight, he uses radio tracking to try to locate some recently reintroduced young cheetahs that are wearing transmitters. Ingrid would like to organise photo safaris in the reserve, so she goes with the warden to find the latest arrivals. After several weeks of acclimatisation, the felines, who were born in captivity, experienced their first hours of freedom just a few months ago.
Yes, and I heard you've reintroduced other species as well.
We have quite a few other species that we have introduced. We have cheetahs, we have plain zebras, we have things like hartebeest as well, which are all species that have disappeared at one point, because of competition with livestock and livestock farmers. So now currently the aim is to bring back all these species. You see the giraffes up there?
You have giraffes, yeah.
Yeah, we have giraffes here. We have introduced about 9 giraffes when they were first introduced, and currently one of them has died with her young one, possibly by at giving birth. That's when she died.
When she died, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Recently, the owners of properties adjoining the reserve have decided to join the conservation project. A partnership agreement has been signed to remove fences between the properties.
So can I get the drum?
Yeah. Okay, can you keep going slightly? Okay. So in the end, we are hoping to remove the whole section of the whole fence between us and them, just to, like I said, to establish the old migratory routes of the game from the Namib Northlift Park through us into the conservancy.
You need me to turn?
Yeah.
Landowners hit by the world crisis in sheep rearing have been forced to look to another type of activity. They've realised that wildlife could provide a considerable source of income thanks to ecotourism. Each year, this country of 2 million inhabitants receives 1 million visitors who come to enjoy the open spaces that are protected or given back to nature. The income generated by tourism finances the management of the reserve, and it also subsidises an educational project. Victoria gives nature lessons.
Right, did we also catch a mouse?
Yeah, we did.
Okay, so we can compare the two.
Really can jump very high.
Yeah.
Because she's very afraid. The gerbils are.
So this
Are
mouse
nicer.
here, right, it's called the striped mouse. You can see it's very active, okay? And here you have the gerbil. It is something like a mouse, but it is jumping, right, instead of running.
What about the lizard?
Victoria is raising awareness about the importance of protecting biodiversity and the country's natural resources among children who are more and more urbanised and cut off from nature.
Originally, I was teaching at an environmental education center where I taught just about cheetahs and leopards, the wildlife of Namibia. And I saw quickly that children don't know about the basics. They don't know how to protect their water. They don't know how to save energy. They don't know about alternative energy. We live in a country that has limited resources, and we need to be able to learn how to save what we have. Make sure the shadow is correct. Good. Now we must put the pot on so that the pot gets hot. Exactly. Okay, and we can take the lid off. We actually don't need the lid.
It saves wood or charcoal, but it takes 45 minutes to cook scrambled eggs. That doesn't matter when everyone knows that in the desert, trees are much rarer than thyme.